Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's kick off today's video with the tale of drive-thru disrespect and the deliciously messy payback that followed. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. He treated our parking lot like a dump, so I treated his BMW like one too. At a complex I lived at a few years back, there was this entitled little punk, couldn't have been more than 19 or 20, cruising around in a badly restored 70s BMW. You know the type. Daddy's money paid for the car, mom's patience funded his lifestyle, and he thought he was God's gift to the dating scene. His girlfriend, who actually lived in the complex, seemed like a decent girl, but every other night this clown would show up, park directly across from my assigned spot, and turn our peaceful parking lot into his personal drive-thru date night. Every single time, without fail, they'd sit there wolfing down Taco Bell or some other fast food, and right before he left, he chucked the wrappers, cups, and crumpled paper bags right out the window onto the pavement. Class act, right? The dumpster corral wasn't even 20 feet away, but apparently walking that far was beneath him. This wasn't a massive complex, it was a small, tidy condo community where everyone kept things neat. And this crap was happening 1 or 2 times a week. At first, I picked up after him without saying anything. But after the 3rd or 4th week of this nonsense, I'd had enough. My bedroom overlooked the parking lot, and sure enough, one afternoon I saw him parked there again, inhaling burritos like he was trying to win a contest. So I went downstairs to have a little chat. I kept it calm, polite, diplomatic even. "Hey, would you mind tossing the trash in the dumpster after you're gone? It's just right over there." He immediately snapped his head around and barked, "How do you know it was me?" I mean, really? I explained, still very civil, that it was hard not to notice the pile of Taco Bell garbage magically appearing every time his very distinctive BMW showed up. Coincidence? Hardly. "Are you watching me or something?" he shot back as if I was some kind of creep spying on his Taco Tuesdays. I laughed and told him not to flatter himself. I'm a 48-year-old man with better things to do than watch some snot-nosed kid relive his high school dating glory days in a car I actually used to own, back when it wasn't a rusty piece of junk. His girlfriend was mortified through all of this, looking everywhere but at me or him. I even turned to her and asked, "Are you really okay with him treating your neighborhood like a landfill?" She just sank deeper into her seat. To end the conversation on a good note, I held up my trash bag and said, "Here, I'm heading to the dumpster anyway. Why don't you put your trash in here?" He mumbled something under his breath and dropped the trash in my bag. I figured that was the end of it. Boy, was I wrong. 3 days later, I glanced out my window and, sure enough, there it was, another pile of Taco Bell wrappers right in the same spot. But this time, his car was still parked there. I figured they must have gone up to her apartment, and wouldn't you know it, the sunroof was wide open. Well, if he was going to treat the parking lot like his personal dump, I figured I might as well return the favor. I grabbed my kitchen trash full of smelly takeout leftovers, coffee grounds, vegetable peelings, you name it. And wouldn't you know it, without my glasses on, I must have mistaken his wide-open sunroof for the dumpster opening. Whoops. You know, Mr. Magoo style, completely accidental, of course. I dropped the entire bag right in, didn't even hesitate, just walked back to my apartment with a little spring in my step and waited. But wait, there's more. While I was at it, I also reported him to the condo management office, explained how his car was becoming a nuisance, how he regularly trashed the parking lot, and how he didn't even live there. Management didn't take long to act. That very week, they posted a formal notice banning his beat-up BMW from the property. One more violation, and it would be towed at his expense. I'm guessing the next time he opened that car door and caught a whiff of my special delivery, he realized maybe, just maybe, it was time to start respecting the neighborhood. And if not, well, let's just say I'm always ready to accidentally mistake a sunroof for a dumpster again. On the other hand, it's a little depressing that a grown adult couldn't grasp there's a dumpster 10 feet away, use it, until his own car smelled like last week's leftovers. I love that you started with courtesy and even hauled his trash once before flipping the script. It turns a stunt that could look vindictive into a perfectly timed, teachable moment. And our second story. Lady complained to my dispatch. When I was a long-haul truck driver, I had a delivery of shopping carts scheduled for a store. Pretty routine stuff. I showed up close to closing time and asked the store staff if they could unload me that evening. Got a simple, "Come back tomorrow. We don't have enough people on site right now." No big deal. I'd heard that plenty of times before. Since I really didn't feel like sleeping at a weird angle in my cab all night and the parking lot was basically empty, I asked if I could just drop my trailer at the dock and pick it up in the morning when they opened. They agreed. Perfect. I was free for the night. Next morning, I show up, and while they're unloading the trailer, I figure I'll walk into the store through the back entrance and grab some snacks for the road. I'm wandering through the aisles, headphones in, minding my own business, wearing shorts and a t-shirt that literally says, "Sorry I'm late, I didn't want to be here in the first place." Real employee vibes, right? Out of nowhere, I feel a tap on my shoulder. I turn around, and there's this lady glaring at me. "Lady, are you deaf?" Me, pulling out my headphones and confused as hell. "Excuse me?" Lady, "I've been asking you where some food ingredient is." Me, "Sorry, I don't know." Lady, "Why wouldn't you know? You work here, don't you?" Me, looking down at my shirt, then back at her. "Do I look like I work here?" Lady, "I saw you walk out from the back door. You've got to work here." Me, "Ma'am, I don't work here. I'm just a driver. Ask an employee." And with that, I walked away and finished my shopping. Grabbed my stuff, paid, and headed back toward my truck. Admittedly, I was a little disappointed. I'd just gotten a call that my next pickup wasn't until the following day, and it was in another state. That meant no available truck parking for the next 36 hours. I briefly considered renting a car and heading to Vegas or the beach to kill time. Just as I'm loading my groceries into the truck, I see the same lady marching toward me again. Lady, "You! Help me load my stuff into my car." Me, completely done at this point. I really don't have time for this. I gotta be back on the road. Lady, "Are you serious? Who's your manager? I'm going to report you." Me, deadpan. "Yep, and my dispatch needs me back ASAP." She huffed and stormed off. I just shook my head, finished loading up my groceries, and got back to my rig to hook up the trailer. As I'm just about done, my phone rings. It's my dispatch. I call back. Dispatch, "Hey, you good for your second delivery and that morning pickup?" Me, "Yeah, all good. I'll sleep on site at the pickup location." Dispatch, laughing, "So what did you do?" Me, chuckling, "Nothing yet, but now I'm wondering what kind of trouble I could get into." "Why, what's up?" Dispatch, "Well, some lady called, complained that you refused to help her, and said she's never coming back to that store again." Turns out this lady saw my truck, Googled the company name plastered on the side, figured out it was an international carrier, and actually tracked down the number just to file a complaint. She couldn't connect the dots that I was just a delivery driver, not a store employee, and certainly not someone under any obligation to be her personal grocery loader. I explained everything to my dispatcher, and he just laughed. Dispatch, she sounded completely nuts. I hung up on her mid-rant. "Don't worry about it, just let me know when you're empty at the next stop." And that was that. Sometimes when you're out there on the road, the drama finds you. At least this time it was harmless and gave us both a good laugh. It really is remarkable how many idiots out there would prefer people to think they're losing their marbles rather than just admitting they made a mistake. Wild stuff. And our next story. I bought the plant out of spite. Twice. Full disclosure, I have my fair share of plants, and I don't need any more. A fact reaffirmed when watering the whole household takes the better part of the afternoon. But the only thing that motivates me more than a passion for horticulture is pure, unadulterated spite. First case, guy calls us asking about houseplants. I confirm that's my area, what can I do for you, etc., and wants to know the price for a very specific plant. Sansevieria cylindrica, starfish if you're wondering, which I tell him, and immediately get a long rebuttal of, "No, it's not. It's only 1/5 that price. And you have it in size we don't have it in." Despite assuring him, "No, we never have this one that low, and I would gladly check on getting a different size," he keeps cutting me off before I give up. I offer to hold the last one we have for him through the afternoon to see if he likes it. He tells me, "Don't bother. You don't know which plant you're talking about. I'm coming down there later. I'll find it and get this sorted out." Click. Well, okay then. I flag my coworkers, say I'm going on break, and, oh yeah, buying this plant. Last I heard, he begrudgingly accepted the 2-week waiting period until we could get more in at a larger size and higher markup. Second case happened today. We're very short-staffed and doing our darndest to keep folks happy and get them their lawn and garden questions answered. In the middle of juggling the phones and a line several people deep, a lady walks up with a lovely variegated African violet I had my eyes on prior and says, "I need to ask you a favor." I think, oh, this is about how to take care of this little beaut or what house plants would work in her house, etc. Nope, she whips out several Ziploc bags of change and says, "I went through my husband's jackets and found these. Can you count it out for me and tell me how much I have?" I politely apologize and say I don't have the time, and she insists, and once again I tell her I cannot do that at this time, but if she'd like, I'd be happy to set aside the plant while she figures out her change. She gives me a minute-long silent glare before saying, "You know what, I don't want any of this then." This was literally the one plant. And I tell her a bit too cheerfully, "No problem, I'll be glad to put that back on the shelf." But I didn't finish. I finished up the line and thought, this plant deserves a better home, just in case she comes back, and bought it on my next break. Variegated violets aren't exactly rare, but they come across our shelves infrequently enough that I was content. And now the boyfriend's asking, was it all worth it? And to that I say, yes. Yes, it was. And our last story. Karen called my private pool a community pool and tried to start an HOA to steal it. After college, with the help of my family, I purchased a great house with a pool. It was the deal of the century for me. Great neighborhood, great neighbors, etc. But everything changed when Karen moved in. This summer, she started casually asking if her kids could use my pool. I didn't mind at first. The weather was hot, and I figured, why not be neighborly? Big mistake. Within a few weeks, it went from, "Hey, can the kids swim?" to Karen and her kids just showing up unannounced. One day I came home early from work and found Karen and a bunch of her friends having a full-on pool party in my backyard. Snacks everywhere, music blasting, pool floats scattered like it's her own home. I confronted her and she just shrugged and said, "Oh, you weren't using it, so I figured it was fine." I told her politely at that point that I wasn't comfortable with people just waltzing into my yard. She acted annoyed, but promised she'd ask next time. Yeah, right. Fast forward to last week. Karen knocks on my door and hands me a typed list of pool rules she wanted me to follow. I wish I was kidding. Highlights of this masterpiece included no swimming after 5 p.m. because her kids have a strict bedtime, no loud music when her family is outside, mandatory weekend access for her and her kids with exclusive use during those times. I laughed out loud. I genuinely thought she was joking. But no, Karen stood there dead serious, waiting for me to agree to follow her pool rules for my own pool. I told her flat out that wasn't happening. She called me selfish and accused me of ruining the neighborhood spirit and being unfair to the kids. Now she's on a full PR tour telling anyone who will listen that I'm the heartless neighbor who refuses to share our community pool. Apparently she's also trying to organize an HOA to, you guessed it, make sure the pool is used fairly. Some neighbors have even suggested I just let it go to avoid drama. But no, I'm not about to be bullied into turning my backyard into a public pool. Update. I installed a keypad lock on my backyard fence. Thought it had solved the problem. Quietly, no more awkward run-ins. Naturally, Karen noticed immediately and was at my door faster than you can say entitlement complex. She stood there fuming, accusing me of locking out the neighborhood kids and treating her family like criminals. I reminded her that it's my backyard, my pool, and not a public park. She rolled her eyes, called me selfish again, and stormed off. Haven't heard much since, though I did catch her trying to peek over my fence the other day. People like her never back down, so you can't either. If you do, you'll never know a moment's peace. Good luck. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.